Is it like this the whole day, or
Yeah,
it just started today?
no, this been like that a little bit, but it's nothing.
Did
And I
they
think
did,
that's
did they
the
work you on today
yeah,
on this?
and I'm thinking it's the rheumatoid arthritis
Mm-hmm.
and the lupus together, because this one I get like this, but this one would usually do this and this, but not these two and
Can you
connected.
make like a fist?
Not now.
Past this phase,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and you might get better with therapy.
I hope so.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay. I'll need to get back to you.
Okay. Sorry. These folks I'm trying to be nice. And they telling the truth. I mean, no lie. Because this lupus and rheumatoid arthritis gives me more spasms than anything. But anyway, 7 days later, Noah released the dove again. And this time, toward the evening, the bird returned to him with an olive leaf in her back. So Noah knew that the water was almost gone. A week later, he released the dove again, and this time she didn't come back. 29 days after that, Noah opened the door to look, and the water was gone. He opened the door to the boat. 8 more weeks went by. Then, last, the earth was dry. Then God told Noah, "You may all go out, release all the animals, birds, reptiles, so they will breed abundantly and reproduce in the great number." So the boat was soon empty. Noah, his wife, and his son, and their wives, all dismembered, along with all the animals, reptiles, and birds, all left the ark in pairs of two, as a woman and a man, and in groups. Then Noah built an altar and sacrificed on it some of the animals and the birds God had designated for that purpose. And Jehovah was pleased with the sacrifice and said to himself, "I will never do it again. I will never again curse the earth, destroying all living things, even though man's bent is always toward evil." Wow. From his earliest youth, and even though he does such wicked things, as long as the earth remains, there will be springtime and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night. God blessed Noah and said, God blessed Noah and his sons and told them to have many children and to repopulate the earth. All the wild animals and the birds and the fishes will be afraid of you. God told him, "For I have placed them in your power, and they are yours to use for food, in addition to grain and vegetables. But eat animals unless their lifeblood has been drained." So that means just drained off. So that means just wash your meat. And murder is forbidden. Man killing animals must die. And any man who murders shall be killed. For to kill a man is to kill one made like God. Let me go again. Man killing animals must die, and any man who murders shall be killed. For to kill a man is to kill one made like God. Yes, have many children and repopulate the earth and subdue it. Hmm. That kind of make me think, like, what the his man can't kill animals. So I wonder, is he just saying the animal have to die, then we eat it? I mean, it should tell us further. Then God told Noah and his sons, "I solemnly promise you and your children and the animals you brought with you all these birds and cattle and wild animals, that I will never again send another flood to destroy the earth. And I seal this promise with this sign. I have placed my rainbow. I have placed my rainbow in clouds as a sign of my promise until the end of time, to you and to all the earth. And so that, I believe that's true, because it's rainbows. They really really do come up. They come up in good times, and I think they mean good things. When I send clouds over the earth, the rainbow will be seen in the clouds. That's right. And I will remember my promise to you and to every being, that never again will the flood come and destroy all life. For I will see the rainbow in the cloud and remember my eternal promise to every living being on earth. The names of Noah's three sons were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham is the ancestor of Canaanites. From these three sons of Noah came all the nations of the earth. So I guess those are all three by Noah's wife. Noah began a farmer and planted a vineyard, and he made wine. One day, as he was drunk and lay naked in his tent, Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father nakedness and went outside and told his two brothers. Then Shem and Japheth took a robe and held it over their shoulder, and walking backwards, let me see, held it on their shoulder. That's covering them, and walking backwards. I think we got some up. Backwards into the tent. Let it fall across their father to cover his nakedness, as come in as they look the other way. Oh, thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
You're a sweetheart.
Thank you.
Um, Let it fall across their fathers to cover his nakedness, and they looked the other way. When Noah woke from his drunken stupor and learned what had happened and what Ham, his younger son, had done, he cursed Ham and his descendants. Hmm, that's wild. Because he just covered them up. At first, I thought, like, whoa, they're gonna do something. A curse upon the Canaanites, he swore. May they be the lowest of the slaves to the descendant of Shem and, excuse me, Japheth. And may the Canaanites be his slaves. God bless the Japheth and let him share the prosperity of Shem. Wow. And let Canaanites be his slave. And those are all brothers. Noah lived another 350 years after the flood, and was 950 years old at his death. These are the families of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who were the three sons of Noah, for the sons were born to them after the flood. The descendants became the maritime nation in various lands. in the various lands, each with a separate language. The sons of Ham were Cush, MeAn, Put. They got some names. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabbatai, Ramah, and Sabtika. One of the descendants of Cush, who became the first king, and that name, I think his name, is Nimrod, it's in Mark. He was a mighty hunter, blessed of the God, and his name became probable. People will speak of someone as being like Nimrod. I'm right. A mighty hunter, blessed of God. The heart of his empire included Babel, Akkad, and Klachman in the land of Shinar. From there, he extended land he extended land his reign to um, Asia, Caleb, and Rezin, which is located between Nebath and Kapala, the main city of the empire. I have to look them up because think about it, it's already named. And my curiosity is, before all this, was the people there? Okay. Mizraim was an ancestor of people inhabiting these areas. Canaan's oldest son was Simon, and he was also the father of Heth. From Canaan descended these nations. Eventually, the descendants of Canaan spread it from Sidon all the way to Ger in the Gaza Strip, and to Sodom and Gomorrah near Lasha. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah is worse. I can't understand why he took that down and gave Noah's Ark first before he shut down Noah's Ark, but I will learn as I read more. These then were the descendants of Ham, spread it around in many lands and nations with many language. Eber descended from Shem, the oldest brother of Japheth. Here is a list of Shem's other descendants. These descendants of Jochim lived all the way Sepah. These then were the descendants of Shem, classified according to their political grouping, language, and geography location. All of the men listed above descended from Noah through many generations. Well, all of them did, living in the various nations and developed after the flood. At the time, all mankind spoke a single language. As the population grew and spread it eastward, a plain was discovered in the land of Babylon and was soon thickly populated. The people who lived there began to talk about building a great city with a tower reaching to the skies. A proud internal monument to themselves. This will word us together. They they said, and keep us from scattering all over the world. So they made great piles of hard burned brick and collected bitumen to use as a mortar. But when God came, that's just like a generator. But when God came down to see the city and the tower mankind was making, he said, look, if they are able to accomplish all this when they have just begun to exploit their language and political unity, just think of what they will do later. Nothing will be untenable for them. Come, let us go down and give them different languages so that they won't understand each other's words. So in that way, God scattered them all around over the earth, and they that ended in the building of the city. That is why the city was called Babel, meaning confusion, because it was there that Jehovah confused them by giving them many languages, thus wisely scattering them across the face of the earth. Shem line of descendants included Apraxas, born 2 years after the flood. When Shem was 100 years old, after that he lived another 500 years and had many sons and daughters. 500 years, I guarantee he sure did. Well, Parkus was the 35th year old son. Shema was born, and after that, he lived another 403 years and had many sons and daughters. Sheila was 30 years old when her son Eber was born, living 403 after that, and had many sons and daughters. Eber was 34 years old when his son Plague was born. He lived 430 years. The thing about it, we, oh, thank you. Um, we don't live that long. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the longest person that is living is like 112 years old, and I think she's somewhere in Dallas. Well, on the outskirts of Dallas. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I'm not even. This is just. Plague was 30 years old when his son Reed was born. He lived another 209 years afterwards and had many sons and daughters. Reed was 32 years old when Terred was born. He lived 207. After that, with many sons and daughters, Serge was 30 years old when his son Nahar was born. He lived 200 years afterwards with many sons and daughters. Nahar was 29 years old at the birth of his son Terah. He lived 119 years old after. So if you see, it's kind of going down of the life years afterwards, and had sons and daughters. By the time of Terah was 70 years old, he had three sons, Abraham, Noah, and Haran. And Haran had a son named Lot. But Haran died young in the land where he was born, in the Ur of Cheslin, and was survived by his father. Meanwhile, Abraham married what? Married his half sister, Sarah. I didn't know that. While his brother Nora um, was married. Their tongue tied Oprah. Oh my God! The easiest word. That's Oprah niece, Macaulay, who was the daughter of their brother Haran, and she had a brother named Isaac. But Sarai was barren; she had no children. Then Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, his son Haran child, and his daughter-in-law Sarah, and left the of the Chaldean to go to the land of the Canaan, but they stopped instead at the city of Haran and settled there. And their Terah died at the age of 205. Where they was trying to go is where Norah was. After the death of Abram's father, excuse me, God told him, "Leave your own country behind you and your own people and go to the land I will guide you to. If you do, I will cause you to become the father of a great nation. I will bless you and make your name famous, and you will be a blessing to many others. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you, and the entire world will be blessed because of you." So Abram departed as the Lord had instructed him, and Lot went too. Abram was 75 years old at that time. He took his wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, and all his wealth, the cattle, and the slaves he had gotten in Haran, and finally arrived um, in Canaan. Traveling through Canaan, they came up to a place near Shechem. That is many nations, baby. And set up camp besides the oak at the Merah. Then Jehovah appeared to Abram and said, "I am going to give this land to your descendants." And Abram built an altar there to commemorate with Jehovah's visit. Afterwards, Abram left that place and traveled southward to the hilly country between Bethlehem and on the west of Ai on the east. There he made camp and made an altar to the Lord and prayed to him. Thus, but hold on. Should make sure I find name and others. God told him to leave your. God told him to leave all your belongings. And see, I think that's probably why his children is not getting blessed because he didn't do what he said. Then Jehovah appeared to Abram and said, "I am going to give this land to your descendants." And Abram built an altar there to commemorate with Jehovah visit. Afterward, left that place and traveled southwards to the hilly country, because between Bethlehem and on the west of Ai on the east. There he made camp and made an altar to the Lord and prayed to him. Thus he continued slowly southward to the Negev, passing frequently. There was at that time a terrible famine in the land, and so Abram went on down to Egypt to live. But as he approaching the border of Egypt, he asked Sarah and his wife to tell everyone that she was his sister. So she didn't want nobody to know. He didn't want nobody to know that Sarah was his sister. I mean, his wife. Wow. We'll say this is. I mean, you are beautiful. Go back up. But as he approached, asked Sarah, okay, his wife, to tell everyone that she's his sister. "You are very beautiful," he told her, "and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife. Let's kill him and then we can have her. But if you say you are my sister, then the Egypts will treat you and me well because of you and spare my life. And sure enough, when they arrived in Egypt, everyone spoke of her beauty. When the palace of Size saw her, they praised her to their king, the Pharaoh, and she was taken into his harem. Then Pharaoh gave Abraham many gifts because of her sheep, donkeys, men, and women, slaves, and camels. But the Lord sent a terrible plague upon Pharaoh's household on account of her being there. Then Pharaoh called Abram before and accused him sharply. What is this you have done to me? He demanded. Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Huh. Why were you willing to let me marry her, saying she was your sister? Here, take her and be gone. And Pharaoh sent them out of the country under armed escort, Abraham, his wife, and all his household possessions. So they left Egypt and traveled north until Nebraska. Abram was Abram with his wife and Lot and Lot and all that they owned. For Abram was very rich in livestock and silver and gold. It was about the only good thing. Then they continued northwards toward Bethlehem, where he had camped before between Bethlehem and Ai to the place where he had built the altar. And there he again worshiped the Lord. Lot too was very wealthy, with sheep and cattle and many servants. But the land could not support both Adam and Lot with all their flocks and herds. There were too many animals and for the availability of pasture, so fights broke out between the herdsmen of Adam and Lot, despite the danger and all faced from the tribes and the Pensile present in the land. Then Abram talked it over with Lot. This fight, this fight between our men has got to stop, he said. We can't afford to let a rift develop between our clans. Close relatives such as we are must present a unity front. I'll tell you what we'll do. Take what time was it? 4:30. 16:24. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. You have to keep up with a whole lot of stuff when you're in the hospital. Okay, so Lots took a long look at the fertile plain of the Jordan River, well watered everywhere. This was before Jehovah destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. The whole section was like the Garden of Eden, are like the beautiful countryside around Zerah in Egypt. So that is what Lot chose, the Jordan Valley to the east of them. He went there with his flocks and servants, and thus he and Abram parted companies. From Abram stayed in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities in the plain, settling at the place near the city of Sodom The men of this area were against Jehovah, and women and children. After Lot was gone, the Lord said to Abram, "Look as far as you can see in every direction, for I am going to give it all to you and your descendants, and I am going to give you so many descendants that, like dust, they can't be counted. Hike in all directions and explore the new possessions I am giving you." Then Abram moved his tent to the oak of Marah near Hebron and built an altar to Jehovah there. Now war filled the land. Am King Shema fought against Bre king of Sodom, British king of Gomorrah, Shinba king of Admah, Shinba king of Zebon, and the king of Bela, later called Zor. These kings of Sodom and Gomorrah mobilized their armies in Sidon valleys, that is, the valley of the Salt Sea. For 12 years, they had all been subject to the king Cheddar or Latter, but now in the 30 years, they're rebelled. 1 year, Cheddar Olama and his allies arrived, and the slaughters began. For there were victorious over the following tribes at the place of the indicated. I'm sorry, the Reptile, the Zuon, the MeAn, the Horan, Atlanta at the edge of the desert. Then they swung around to Meshat, later called Kadesh, and destroyed the Alamaka and also the mortals living there. But now the other army, that of the king of Sodom and Gomorrah and Bela, unsuccessfully attacked Chedorlaomer and his allies, and they were in the Salt Sea Valley. 4 kings against 5, and it happened. The valley was full of Absar pit, and as they army, the king of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. Some slipped into the pit, and the remain fled to the mountains. Then the victors plundered Sodom and Gomorrah and carried off all their wealth and the food, and went on their homeward way. Homeward way. Who lived in Sodom and all he owned. One of please don't come try to check protection. Protection is a good word. Protection. Because some of it just really means just of some protection, and God had already told them if they don't disobey them, He will protect them. Okay, when Adam learned that Lot had been captured, he called together the men born into the household, 318 of them in all, and chased after the retiring army as far as the Dan. That night he successfully attacked them and pursued the fleeing army to the harbor north of Damascus. And he recovered everything, the lots that had been taken, his relatives, Lot's and all the Lot's possessions, including the women and other captures. As Abraham returned, his strike against Shed and the other kings in valleys of Shava, later called King's Valley, the king of Sodom, came out to meet him, and Melechushe, oh, the king of Salem, Jerusalem, who was the priest of Solomon, who was the priest of, I'm sorry, my eyes, of God of the highest heaven, brought him bread and wine. Then Melchizedek, dang these spasms. Lord have mercy on me. I'm reading my word, Lord. Abram with his blessing. Um, the blessing of the supreme God, creator um, of heaven and the earth, be upon you, Adam, and blessed be God who has delivered you from enemies over to you. Hallelujah. Next, you should check out some Plato and philosophy. It has a lot of good lessons. Okay, I surely will. Thank you, City. Hold on, y'all. This Lucas, everyone Jones is acting up, pulling my damn knuckles all the way out. All right, all right, all right. Then Jehovah told Abram, your descendants will be oppressed as the slaves in foreign land for 400 years, but I will punish the nation that enslaves them, and at the end they will come away with great wealth. But you will die in peace and at the right old age. After 4 generations, they will return here to his land, for the wickedness of our nation living up here now will not be ready for the punishment until then. Well, we already know that because it comes from Gomorrah. And the kings of them, they sit on opposite sides. Okay. As the sun went down and it was dark, Abraham saw a smoke of fire pot and a flaming torch that passed between the halves of the carcasses. So that day, Jehovah made Jehovah made this covenant with Abram. I have given this land to you, descendants from the wily Irish to the Euphrates River, and I give to them these nations. But Sarah and Abraham and no children, so Sarah took her maid and an Egyptian girl named Hagar and gave her to Abraham to be his second wife. Since the Lord has given me no children, Sarah said, you may sleep with my servant girl, and her children shall be mine. And Abraham agreed. This took the place 10 years after Abraham had his first arrived in the land of Canaan. So he slept with Hagar, and she conceived. And when she realized she was pregnant, she became very proud and arrogant toward her mistress Sarah. Then Sarah said to Abraham, it's all your fault, for now this servant girl of mine despised me, though I myself gave her the privilege of being your wife. may the Lord judge you for doing this to me. You have my permission to punish the girl as you see fit, Abram replied. So Sarah beat her, and she ran away. Then angels of the Lord, wait a minute, y'all. All right. Then Sarah said to Abram, "It's all your fault. From now, this servant girl of mine despises me. Through I myself gave her the privilege of being your wife. May the Lord judge you for doing this to me. You have my permission to punish the girl as you see fit." Abraham replied. So Sarah beat her, and she ran away. And the angel of the Lord found her beside a desert spring along the road to Shur. The angel Hagar Sarah maid, where have you come from, and where are you going? Hagar, I am running away from my mistress. The angel, return to your mistress and act as you should, for I will make you into a great nation. Yes, you are pregnant, and your baby will be a son, and you are to name him Ishmael. God hears, because God has heard your woes. This son of yours will be wild, one free and untamed, and as wild as he will be against everyone, and everyone will feel the same towards him, but he will live near the rest of his kin. Therefore Hagar spoke to Jehovah, for it was he who appeared to her as God, who looked upon me, for she thought, I saw God and lived to tell it. Later that well was named the well of the living, one who sees me. It lies between Kadesh and Beer. Excuse me. So Hagar gave Abram a son, and Abram named him Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old at the time. So last time I think he was like 70 something. When Abram was 99 years old, God appeared to him and told him, I am the Almighty. Obey me and live as you should. I will prepare a contract between us, guaranteeing to make you into a mighty nation. In fact, you shall be the father of not only one nation, but multitude of nations. Abram fell face downward in the dust, and God talked with him. What more? God told him. I am changing your name. It is no longer Abram, exalted father, but it's Abraham, father of the nation, for that is what you will be. I have declared it. I will give you millions of descendants who will form many nations. Kings shall be among your descendants, and I will continue this agreement between us generations after generations forever, for it shall be between me and your children as well. It is a contract that I shall be your God and the God of your prosperity, and I will give all the land Canaan to you, and then forever, and I will be your God. Your part of the contract, God told him, is to obey its terms. You personally and all your prosperity have the continual responsibility. That's the every male among you shall be criticized. The foreskin of his penis shall be cut off. So that means, what they say. Pull the skin of the male penis. They always cut off. Well, I know I did my boys. Well, and my family did their boys. Okay, you personally, okay. Your part of the contract God told him is to obey its term. Your personality and all your prosperity have this continuing responsibility that every male among you shall be circumcised. Every male shall be circumcised. The foreskin of the penis shall be cut off. This will be the proof that you and they come in, accept the convent. Hi, how are you? All right, and you? Thank you so much.
You're welcome to take this now, and I put them on the table.
Okay, perfect. This will be the proof that you and they accept this convent. Every male shall be circumcised on the 8th day after birth. This applies to foreign born slaves as well as to everyone. Did they bring my soda?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
No
good.
problem.
Oh, okay, good. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, no problem.
Okay, you have a blessed day and blessed night. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. This applies to every foreigner born slave as well as to every born in your household. This is a permanent part of this contract, and it applies to all your prosperity. Hello. Oh, my nails. I need to get my nails done, but I'm in the hospital, so. But I thought about telling my son to bring my nail kit. I got a little nail kit with some tips, and I started to put some white tips on. But I'm hoping and praying that I don't be in here too long, um, so I can get home. But it's in God's hands. But I can tell you, I feel just um, a little bit better. It's just about them controlling um, the numbness and all of that other extra stuff. Okay, part of this contract, and it applies to all your prosperity. Uh, all must be circumcised. Your bodies will thus be marked as uh, participants in my everlasting comfort. Anyone who refuses these terms shall be cut off from his people, for he has violated my contract. Then God added, regarding Sarah, your wife, her name is no longer Sarah, but it's Sarah, princess. Well, let's put princess in front of it. And I will bless her and give you a son from her. Yes, I will bless her richly and make her the mother of the nation. Many kings shall be among your prosperity. Then Abraham threw himself down in the worship before the Lord. But inside he was laughing in disbelief. That's cold blooded. That is really cold blooded. Me be a father, he said. Amusement, me, 100 years old, and Sarah to have a baby boy, a baby at 90. And Abraham said to God, yes, do bless Ismail. No, God replied, that isn't what I said. Sarah shall bear you a son, and you are to name him Isaac. Laughter. And I will sign my covenant with him forever and with his descendants. And for Ishmael, all the rights I will bless him also, just as you have asked me to do. I will cause him to multiply and become a great nation. 12 princes shall be among his prosperity. But my contract is with Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah next year at about this time. That ended the conversation, and God left. Then that very day, Abraham took Ishmael, his son, and every other male born in his household, and bought from outside and cut off their foreskins, just as God had told him to. That's good. Abraham was 99 years old at the time, and Ishmael was 13. Both were circumcised the same day, along with all the other men and boys of the household, whether boys there or bought as slaves. I'm sorry. Perfect. The Lord appeared again to Abraham while he was living in the oak grove of Mamre. This is the way it happened. One hot summer afternoon, as he was sitting in the opening of his tent, he suddenly noticed three men coming towards him. He sprang up and ran to meet them and welcomed them. Sir, he said, please don't go any further. Stop a while and rest here in the shade of this tree while I get water to refresh your feet and a bite to eat to strengthen you. Do you stay a while before continuing your journey? All right, they said, do as you have said. Then Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, quick, mix up some pancakes. Wow. Use the best flour and make enough for the three of them. Then he ran out to the herd and selected a fat a calf, and told a servant to hurry up and butcher it. Soon taking them cheese and milk and the roast bells, he set it before the men and stood beneath the trees beside them as they ate. Where is Sarah, your wife? They asked. In the tent, Abraham replied. Then the Lord said, next year I will give you and Sarah a son. Sarah was listening from the tent door behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were both very old, and Sarah was long since past the time when she could have a baby. So Sarah laughed silently. A woman my age having a baby? She scoffed to herself. And with a husband as old as mine? Then God said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, can an old woman like me have a baby? Is anything too hard for God? Next year, just as I told you, I will certainly see to it that Sarah has a son. But Sarah denied it. Ah, damn it, come on. Sarah denied it. Um, I didn't laugh. She laughed, for she was afraid. Then the men stood up from their mental and started up on towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them part of the way. Should I hide my plans from Abraham? God asked. For Abraham shall become a mighty nation, and he will be a source of blessings for all the nations of the earth. And I have picked him out to, to have godly descendants and a godly household, men who are just as God, so that I can that the people of Sodom and Gomorrah come. Ah, Lord. Oh, Jesus. Ah. Oh, I can take it. No. Okay. Mm. I have heard that the people of Sodom and Gomorrah are uttering evil, and that everything they do is wicked. I am going down to see whether these reports are true or not. Then I will know. So the other two went on toward Sodom, but the Lord remains with Adam a while. Then Adam approaches him and said, will you kill good and bad alike? Suppose you find 50 godly people there within the city. Will you destroy it and not spare it? For, ah, God, dog it. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. Let's, all right. So the other two went on toward Sodom, but the Lord remained with Abraham a while. Then Abraham approached him and said, will you kill good and bad alike? Suppose you find 50 godly people there within the city. Will you destroy it and not spare it for their sakes? That that wouldn't be right. Surely you wouldn't do such a thing to kill the godly with the wicked. Why? You would be treating godly and wicked exactly the same. Surely you wouldn't do that. Should not the judge of all the earth be fair? And God replied, if I find 50 godly people there, I will spare the entire city for their sake. Then Abraham spoke again, since I have begun, let me go on and speak further to the Lord, though I am but dust and ashes. Suppose there are only 45. Will you destroy the city for lack of five? And God said, I will not destroy it if I find 45. Then Abraham went further with this request. Suppose there are only 40. And God replied, I won't destroy it if there are 40. Please don't be scared. Please don't be angry, Abraham pleaded. Let me speak. Supposedly 30 are found there. And God replied, I won't do it if there are 30 there. Then Abraham said, since I have dared to speak to God, let me continue. Suppose there are only 20. And God said, then I won't destroy it for the sake of the 20. Finally, Abraham said, oh, let not the Lord be angry. I will speak, but this once more. Supposedly only 10 are found. And God said, then for the sake of the 10, I won't destroy it. And the Lord went on his way when he had finished his conversation with Abraham. And Abraham returned to his tent. That evening, the two angels came to the entrance of the city of Sodom and Lot, and was sitting there as they arrived. When he saw them, he stood up to meet them and welcomed them. Sirs, he said, come to my home as my guests for the night. You can get up as early as you like and be on your way again. Oh, no thanks, they said. We'll just stretch out here along the street. But he was very urgent until at last they went home with him, and he set a great feast before them, complete with freshly baked unleavened bread. After the meal, as they were preparing to retire for the night, the men of the city, yes, Sodomites, young and old, from all over the city, surrounded the house and shouted to Lot, bring out those men to us so we can rape them. Again, he said, bring out those men so they can rape them. Lot stepped outside to talk to them, shutting the door behind them. Please, fellows, he begged, don't do such a wicked thing. Look, I have two virgin daughters, and I'll surrender them to you to do with as you wish. But leave these men alone, for they are under my protection. Stand back, they yelled. Who do you think you are? We let this fellow settle among us, and now he's trying to tell us what to do. Well, deal with you far worse than with those other men. As they lunged at Lot and began breaking down the door, but the two men reached out and pulled Lot in and bolted the door, and temporarily blinded the men of Sodom so that they couldn't find the door. But what relatives do you have here in the city? The man asked. Get them out of this place, son in laws, sons, daughters, or anyone else. For we will destroy the city completely. The stretch of the place has reached to heaven, and God has sent us to destroy it. So Lot rushed out to tell his daughters, fiancés, quick, get out of the city, for the Lord is going to destroy it. But the young men looked at him as though he had lost his senses. At dawn the next morning, the angels became urgent. Hurry, they said to Lot, take your wife and your two daughters who are here and get out while you can, or you will be caught in the destruction of the city. When Lot still hesitated, the angels seized his hand and the hands of his wife and two daughters and rushed them safely outside the city. For the Lord was merciful. Flee for your lives, the angels told him, and don't look back. Escape to the mountains. Don't stay down here on the plain or you will die. Oh no, sir, please, Lot begged. Since you're being so kind to me and saved my life, and you granted me such mercy, let me flee to the little village over there instead of into the mountains, for I fear disaster in the mountain. Sees the village is close by, and it is just a small one. Mm-mm-mm. Please, please let me go there instead. Don't you see how small it is? And my life will be saved. All right, the angel said, I accept your proposition and won't destroy that little city, but hurry, for I can do nothing until you are there. From that time on, in that village was named Zorah, meaning the little city. The sun was rising as Lot reached the village. Then the Lord rained down fire and flame tar from the heavens upon Sodom and Gomorrah. Dang, and tar. You know, tar is, woo, do a whole lot to your body. All right, and utterly destroying them along with the other cities and villages and of eliminate all life, people, plants, animals alike. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following along behind him and became a pillar of salt because God told her not to look back, and she did. Hard head make a soft butt. That morning, Abraham was up early and hurried out to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked out across the plains to Sodom and Gomorrah and saw columns of smoke and fumes as from a furnace rising from the city there. So God headed Abraham plea and kept Lot safe, removing him from the maelstrom of death that engulfed the city. Afterwards, Lot left Zoar, fearful of the people there, and went to live in a cave in the mountains with his two daughters. One day, the older girl said to her sister, there isn't a man anywhere in this entire area that our father will let us marry, and our father will soon be too old for having children. Come, let's fill him with wine, and then we will sleep with him so that our clan will not come to an end. So they got him drunk that night, and the older girl went in and had sexual intercourse with her father, but he was unaware of her lying down or getting up. The next morning, she said to her younger sister, I slept with my father last night. Let's fill him with wine again tonight, and you go in and lie with him so that our family lines will continue. So they got him drunk again that night, and the younger girl went in and laid with him. And as before, he didn't know that anyone was there. And so it was that both girls, okay, okay. And so it was that both girls became pregnant before their father. The older girl's babies was named Moab. He became an ancestor of the nation of the Moabites. The name of the younger girl's baby was Bema. He became the ancestors of the nation of the Ammonites. I'm not saying that right, but I know what it is. Now Abraham moved south to Niger and settled between Kadesh and Shur. One day, when visiting the city of Gur, he remarked that Sarah was his sister. Then the king sent for her and had her brought to him at his palace. But that night, God came to him in a dream and told him, "You are a dead man, for that woman you took is married." But Amalek hadn't slept with her yet. So he said, "Lord, will you slay an innocent man?" He told me, "Yes, is my sister." And she herself said, "Yes, he is my brother. I haven't the slightest intention of doing anything wrong." "Yes, I know," the Lord replied. That is why I held you back from sinning against me. That is why I didn't let you touch her. Now restore her to her husband, and he will pray for you. For he is a prophet, and you shall live. But if you don't return her to him, you are doomed to death along with all your household. The king was up early the next morning and hastily called a meeting of all the palace personnel and told them what had happened. After the great fear sweep through the crowd, then the king called for Abraham. "What is this you've done to us?" He demanded. "What have I done that deserves treatment like this? To make me and my kingdom guilty of the great sin? Who will suspect that you would do a thing like this to me?" Whatever made you think of this vile deed? Well, Abraham said, "I figured this to be a godless place. They will want my wife and will kill me to get to her. I thought, and besides, she is my sister, or at least a half a sister. We both have the same father, and I married her." Okay. "And when God sent me traveling far from my childhood home, I told her, 'Have the kindness to mention wherever we come that you are my sister.' The king Abimelech took the sheep and the oxen and the servants, both men and women, and gave them to Abraham, and returned Sarah to his wife to him. Look my kingdom over and choose the place where you want to live, the king told him. Then he turned to Sarah. Look, he said, I am giving your brother 1,000 silver pieces of uh, damages for what I did to compensate for any embarrassment and to settle any claims against me regarding this matter. Now justice has been done. Then Abraham prayed, asking God to cure the king and queen and the other women of the household so they could have children. For God has stricken all the women with burdens to punish Abimelech for taking Abraham's wife. Then God did as he had promised, and Sarah became pregnant and gave Abraham a baby son in his old age at the time. God had said, Abraham named him Isaac, meaning laughter. 8 days after he was born, Abraham circumcised him as God required. Abraham was 100 years old at the time. And Sarah declared, God has brought me laughter. All who hear about this shall rejoice with me, for he would have dreamed that I would ever have a baby. Yet I have given Abraham a child in his old age. Time went by and the child grew and was weakened. And Abraham gave a party to celebrate the happy occasion. But when Sarah noticed Ismail, the son of Abraham, and the Egyptian girl Hagar teasing Isaac, she turned upon Abraham and demanded, Get rid of the slave girl and her son. He is not going to share your property with my son. I won't have it. This upset Abraham very much, for after all, Ishmael too was his son. But God told Abraham, don't be upset over the boy of your slave girl wife. Do as Sarah say, for Isaac is the son through whom my promise will be fulfilled. And I will make a nation of descendants of the slave girl's son, too, because he also is yours. So Abraham got up early the next morning, prepared food for the journey, and strapped a canteen of water to Hagar's shoulder and sent her away with their son. She hiked out into the wilderness of Babylon, wondering aimlessly where and when the water was gone. She left the child beneath a bush and went off and sat down 100 yards or so away. I don't want to watch him die, she said, and burst into tears, sobbing wildly. The God answered the loud cries, and the angel of God called to Hagar from the sky. Hagar, what's wrong? Don't be afraid, for God has heard the lad cry as he is lying there. Go and get the boy and comfort him, for I will make great nations from his descendants. Then God opened her eyes and she saw well, so she refilled the canteen and gave the lad a drink. And God blessed the boy, and he grew up in the wilderness of Paran and became an expert archer. And his mother arranged a marriage from him with a girl from Egypt. About this time, King Achman and Phicol, commander of his troops, came to Abraham and said to him, It is evident that God helped you in everything you do. Swear to me by God's name that you won't defraud me or my son or my grandson, but that you will be on friendly terms with my country, as I have been toward you. Abraham replied, All right, I swear to it. Then Abraham complained to the king about a well, the king's servant, and taken violently away from Abraham's servant. This is the first I heard of this, the king explained, and I have no idea who is responsible. Why didn't you tell me before? Then Abraham gave the sheep and ox to the king as sacrifice to seal their pact. But when he took 7 lambs and sent them off by themselves, the king inquired, "Why are you doing that?" And Abraham replied, "They are my gift to you as public confirmation that this well is mine." So from that time to the well was called Beersheba, well of the oath, because that was the place where they made their covenant. Then King and Pilco, commander of his army, returned home again, and Abraham planted a Tosmark tree beside the well, and prayed there to the Lord, calling upon the eternal God to witness the covenant. And Abraham lived in the Philistine country for a long time. Later on, God tested Abraham's faith and obedience. "Abraham," God called. "Yes, Lord," he replied. "Take with you your only son, yes, Isaac, whom you love so much, and go to the land of Moriah and sacrifice him there as a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I'll point out to you." The next time Abraham got up early, chopped wood for a fire upon the altar, saddled his donkey, and took with him his son Isaac and 2 young men who were his servants, and started off to the place where God had told him to go. On the third day of the journey, Abraham saw the place in the distance. "Stay here with the donkey," Abraham told the young men, "and they laid, and I will travel younger and worship, and then come right back." After Abraham placed the burnt offering upon Isaac's shoulders, while he himself carried the knife and the flint from the striking of the fire. Excuse me. So the two of them went on together. "Father," Isaac asked, "we have the wood and the flint to make the fire, but where is the lamb for sacrifice?" "God will see to it, my son," Abraham replied. And they went on. When they arrived at the place where God has told Abraham to go, he built an altar and placed the wood in order, ready for fire, and then tied Isaac and laid him on the altar over the wood. And Abraham, hello, how are you? Let me see. Yeah, you can put it in this cup. You doing all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. On the spot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. "Yes, Lord," he answered. Wait. I gotta go back up. Okay. When he arrived at the place where God had told. Okay, no, I did. Okay, when they arrived at the place where God had told Abraham to go, he built an altar and placed the wood in order, ready for the fire, and then tied Isaac and laid him on the altar over the wood. And Abraham took the knife and lifted it up to plunge it into his son to slay him. At that moment, the angel of God shouted to him from heaven, "Abraham! Abraham!" "Yes, Lord," he answered. "Lay down the knife. Don't hurt the lad in any way." The angel said, "For I know that God is first in your life. You have not withheld even your beloved son, from me. Then Abraham noticed a ram caught by its horns in a bush. So he took the ram and sacrificed it instead of his son. As the burnt offering on the altar, Abraham named the place Jehovah Provides, and it is still goes by that name to this day. Then the angel of God called again to Abraham from heaven. I, the Lord, have sworn by myself that because you have obeyed me and have not withheld even your beloved son from me, I will bless you with incredible blessings and multiply you descendants come in into countless thousands and multiply. Okay. No, you all right? I'm just reading my Bible.
Just continue to.
It's a-okay. Oh, sorry.
How's the pain?
About an 8. It's just that spasm keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
It just keep coming. I guess because when we was downstairs in the gym, we did so much
Yeah.
with the hands.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot. I got in that car though.
Oh.
Yes, I got in. It was a little struggle,
Mm-hmm.
but I got off inside that car.
Oh.
I said I better get it. I said I better get in that car, that Crown Vic, because I got a Crown Vic at home.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay. Your next payment is not due. That's why I didn't bring it.
Okay, don't.
It's gonna be at the night nursing
Yes.
shift, so she's gonna bring it.
Okay, like about 6 or something. 6.
7.
Okay.
Because I gave it to you around like 3:30ish, I think.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it is right. But let me put that down. I'll do it later. Put this to the interest. Yes, Lord, he answered. Lay down the knife. Don't hurt the lad in any way. The angel don't hurt the lad in any way. The angel said, for I know that God is first in your life. You have not withheld even your beloved son from me. Then Abraham noticed a ram caught by its horns in a bush. So he took that ram and sacrificed. I know y'all, I done read that, but I'm just, He took that ram and sacrificed it instead of his son as a burnt offering on the altar. Abraham named that place Jehovah Provides, and it still goes by that name to this day. I'm gonna look that up and see if it goes by that name. Then the angel of God called again to Abraham from heaven. I, the Lord, have sworn by myself that because you have obeyed me and have not withheld even your beloved son from me, I will bless you with incredible blessings and multiply your descendants into countless thousands and millions like the stars above you in the sky and like the sands along the seashore. The descendants of yours will conquer the enemies and be a blessing to all the nations of the earth, all because you have obeyed me. So they returned to the young men and traveled home again to the Bershah. After this, a message arrived that Malachi, the wife of Abraham's brother, Noah, had borne him 8 sons. Their names. He also had 4 other children from his concubine, Ramah. So, Teba, Goham, Tahasha, and Malachi. Okay, let me see. Okay, one more chapter. When Sarah was 127 years old, she died in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. There Abraham mourned and wept for her. Then, standing beside her body, he said to the men of Heth, "Here I am, a visitor in a foreign land, with no place to bury my wife. Please sell me a piece of your ground for this purpose." Certainly, the men replied, For you are an honorable prince of God among us. It will be a privilege to have you choose the finest of our spectre so that you can bury her there. Then Abraham bowed low before them and said, "Since this is your feeling in the matter, be so kind as to ask Imran Zorah the son to sell me the cave of Machpelah down at the end of his field. I will course and pay the full price for it, whatever is publicity agreed upon, and it will become a permanent cemetery for my family." That was smart, you know. Abram was sitting there among the others, and now he spoke up, answering Abraham as the other listening, speaking publicly before all the citizens of the town. "Sir," he said to Abraham, "please listen to me. I will give you the cave and the field without any charge. Here in the presence of my people, I give it to you free. Go and bury your dead." Abraham bowed again to the men of Heth and replied to, Reuben as all listening. "No, let me bury it from you. Let me buy it from you. Let me pay the full price of the field, and then I will bury my dead." "Well, the land is worth 400 pieces of silver," Reuben said, But what is that between friends? Go ahead and bury your dead." So Abraham paid the price he had suggested, 400 pieces of silver, as publicity agreed. This is the land he bought Ephraim field at Machpelah near Mur, and the cave at the end of the field, and all the trees in the field. They became his permanent passion by agreement in the presence of the men of Heth and the city gates. So Abraham buried Sarah there in the field, and the cave deeded to him by the men of Heth as he buried the plot. Okie dokie. I read some chapters. So I will start it tonight. I'm not too sleepy because I just took some of my medicine. I'll start tonight on 24. Well, I promise I really thank you and everybody and all the clicks and likes and everybody that stopped in. I thank you. I very thank you from the very thank you of my heart. I hope everybody have a good night, and I hope I'm gonna get off the line, and I will talk to you guys and ladies later. Peace out.